Let's go. The Leafs just defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets by a score of 5-4 in their first meeting since the NHL Bubble Series. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, so let's get to it.
Absolutely unbelievable. It's a tie game! Woo! Finally! Go Leafs, go! It's not baseball, but let's see a rally. Let's go Leafs!
Shh. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Maple Leafs Media postgame show. It has been a massive day in Leafs Nation for a number of reasons. Probably none bigger than the Jason Spezza suspension. He's been suspended for 6 games. We'll get to that. We will discuss that. We'll talk about it. We'll break it down. But leave your thoughts about that in the comments throughout the show as well. But tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-4 in their first meeting since the NHL bubble back in 2020. Nice to get a little bit of vengeance back, but it's 2 points, and we're gonna see this team again. So you want to see that keep up against the Columbus Blue Jackets every time you play them. 5-4 victory for the Maple Leafs tonight. So thanks for being with me tonight. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button, hit the notification bell to be notified every time new content's being released on Maple Leafs Media. There's some player interviews, post-game shows, and other videos, other content related to the Maple Leafs. So big dub over the Columbus Blue Jackets to get into the win column again after a tough weekend. A weekend where I actually felt the Maple Leafs played well. I didn't cover the games this weekend, but Saturday night they fought back against the Minnesota Wild, who's a really good team. I like to see that. It was a good loss, honestly. It was a good loss against Minnesota Saturday night, and then that hard-fought loss Sunday night against Winnipeg. So you get 1 point out of 4 there, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Columbus almost got back into the game. They did almost get back into this game a couple of times. Early in the game, when the Maple Leafs were leading 3-1, it was a 2-goal game, and then John Tavares scores, and 7 seconds later, Austin Matthews scores. That's a bit of killer instinct, maybe. Maybe that's a phrase that's been tossed around. So maybe that's something you want to see. You want to see that. You want to see when you get a goal, you want to see your guys go for another, try to pour it on. But Columbus did almost get back into this game a couple times, and Jack Campbell made a couple key saves in this game. He had 28 saves on 32 shots. The Maple Leafs needed every save he made in this game, and he made some massive saves, especially in that second and third period. Big shout out to Jack Campbell. Wasn't his best night out there, but he made some big time saves, and the Toronto Maple Leafs secure a win because of it. Tonight's 3 stars of the game, Jack Campbell's not on this list. That's something that is unusual on this show now. Austin Matthews, the first star of the game with 2 goals and 1 assist. Morgan Riley, his performance flew under the radar. 4 assists in this game for the defenseman. He's the second star of this game. And then Oliver Bjorkstrand of the Columbus Blue Jackets, he scored 2 in this one. He's deserving of the 3rd star. Chris Matterson says, Soup was great. Yeah, Jack Campbell made the key saves in the key moments to come away with a victory here. SJTC Australia says, smash that like. Thank you. Thank you for watching all the way from Australia. And if you haven't already, yes, smash that like button. It helps out the channel big time. And Joe says, hey, Jake, not the best result tonight, but better than a shootout. It's 2 points. It's 2 points. Win's a win, but it wasn't the prettiest win for the it wasn't the best victory of the season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not even close. Frank Rusty Nail says Justin Hall's game has been on the decline this year. Definitely, it's been noticeable that Justin Hall hasn't hasn't been performing like he was last season in that shutdown role. Jake Muzzin's also been struggling a bit uh, at the beginning of the season, and Justin Hall, it shows that he is somewhat reliant on Jake Muzzin, a veteran, to carry a lot of the weight on that of carry a lot of the weight of the load on that blue line second line pairing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Justin Hall, it's been noticeable that his game's on the decline, but guess what? We need Justin Hall big time. The Maple Leafs are facing the injury bug right now, and they're going to face it again throughout the entirety of this season. It's an 82 game season, and we're just getting hit with some injuries now. The injury bug making its way to Toronto. We have Mitch Marner out 3 to 4 weeks with a shoulder injury. That was the that had to do with the Jake Muzzin Mitch Marner incident in practice. Rasmus Sandin out 2 to 3 weeks with the knee injury after the knee-to-knee hit from Neil Pionk. And then Travis Dermott, he had the timetable's unspecified on his shoulder injury. So the Maple Leafs, uh, they need players to step up big time. Big time, they need players to step up. Next man up mentality is what this team has to have right now. Wilfred says, "Nice to see Richie Pot one." Yes, Nick Ritchie. He's been featured on this show a lot. He's someone I've talked about a lot, and not for good reasons. But tonight, he finally cashed in on one of those opportunities. That he's had a plethora of opportunities to score throughout the season, and what I've been saying is he just looks a couple steps slow out there. But tonight, he finally cashed in on one out front of the net, banks it in. So you like to see that. Nick Ritchie finally gets the monkey off of his back per se, and maybe, just maybe, this is something that he can build off of. He can build momentum, and he can continue, hopefully, scoring some goals for the Maple Leafs because they could definitely use the production, especially in the absence of Mitch Marner. JB said last week I mentioned Leafs had no injuries, and then bang, yeah, it can happen that quick. Just snap of a finger. One game can deplete your lineup. Things happen in practice, and then there's a pandemic going on in the world right now. We haven't had to deal with that for the Maple Leafs this season yet, and fingers crossed. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Uh, there's there's a lot that can go wrong in an 82 game season. So, yeah, the injury bug is hitting the Maple Leafs right now, but they come away with a victory tonight, and they're going to see another team that's facing a lot of injuries in the Tampa Bay Lightning Thursday night. They've got uh, Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point both sidelined, so those are massive hits to their lineup. But it is the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions that we will be playing Thursday night, so it will be an interesting game to see. Last time these two teams played, I was in attendance. It was at Scotiabank Arena. What was that, November 4th? And that was a great game to be at. The Toronto Maple Leafs, it was like you could hear a pin drop in that arena for the entirety of the game because it was 1-0 going into the third period. And with about 2 minutes left, I think John Tavares scored the tying goal. And then Nylander had the OT winner in that one. So it'll be an exciting game. It's always exciting to see the Maple Leafs take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Oh, JB, don't get me started on the Bills. I was at that game last night and it was tough. It was tough. Tough weather and a tough game all in all. Uh, right now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing well, and a lot of it has to do with the performance of this guy, Austin Matthews, on a 7 goal game streak. That's that's great. You love to see Austin Matthews scoring goals, and not only that, in that time frame, he has 11 goals in his past 7 games. He had the hat trick. He had a 2 goal game just the other night, and then now scores another goal. So Austin Matthews, he's uh he's a special player. We all know it. Blues leading 3-2 third period. Want Leafs first overall. They're beating the Panthers. Yeah, Leafs could use any help they can get. Dan, sorry. Dan Fram says they're going to win another 5 in a row. And you know what, Dan? I like that. This is what I was thinking tonight when I watched this team play. I thought, okay, they had a tough weekend. Let's see how this team responds. You respond with a victory tonight. You got a lot of injuries, but I do feel as if after this team loses a game, it gives them a spark. And maybe, just maybe, this team will get hot again. I would not be surprised by it at all. I could definitely see the Maple Leafs going on another run like they just had, where they won 15 of their. Okay, so right before this weekend, they won 15 of their last 17 games. I wouldn't be surprised to see them do something similar to that again. I don't think it'll be 15 of 17 again, but I think they'll definitely get hot. They'll go on another run. Uh, just just a matter of time. So if you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button and hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified every time new content's being released on the Maple Leafs Media YouTube channel. If you haven't already, check out the Instagram as well at Maple Leafs Media. I'm on Twitter at Leafs Media, and if you're on Facebook, share this video, tell a friend to tell a friend. John says, "Oh yes, I strongly agree." I Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like the thing about this Toronto Maple Leafs team is you want to see how they respond to adversity. And early in the season, a lot of people were really down on this team. You remember that? Remember when the sky was falling because right after the disappointment of last year's game 7, the team started off really slow. They started off slow out of the gate, and then they got hot again. They lose a couple games here, you'd like to see them get hot again. Adrian says Spezza 6 game. Yeah, let's get to talking about that. Jason Spezza has been suspended for 6 games for his hit on Neil Pionk on Sunday night against the Winnipeg Jets. I want to know what everyone thinks about this suspension. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know, is this suspension penalty too high? Is it too low? Or is it just right? I'm curious to know what you think. I know a lot of Leafs Nation is in outrage right now because Jason Spezza is a guy who he's a class act type of player. He's been in the league for close to 20 years. 19 years he's played in the NHL, and he's got a very clean track record. He doesn't do this type of thing usually. But Jason Spezza reacted to what Neil Pionk did to Rasmus Andy in the neon knee hit uh, very quickly. It was a reactionary thing that Jason Spezza did, and I don't think there's any denying that. People can say that it wasn't intentional, but Jason Spezza went out there with the intent of hitting Neil Pionk on that play, and it just happened to be a bad situation. It's a bad play. It's a bad play. It was a dirty play from someone who's not a dirty player, and I'm really curious to see everyone's reaction. Let's check out the comment section. Uh, John Howard says, "I think too much." Andrew says too high. Um, okay, so yeah, so generally people are saying too high. Wilfred says hard to believe Spezza got 6 games. JB, Jets losing to the Canes 4-2. Pionk will cause them big time. Yeah. So the thing about Neil Pionk, he's suspended and he's in concussion protocol. So with Pionk being in concussion protocol, it instantly is going to make the penalty higher. And with the reactionary play, it's instantly going to make the penalty higher as well. But I believe that Jason Spezza's track record of over 19 seasons in the NHL and a very clean track record at that, I believe that's something that should be a mitigating factor for him. Uh, 6 games is a lot, and I do think it was a dirty play by Spezza. It was a reactionary play, And I thought that 4 games would have been good, double what Neil Pionk got. But I understand why the NHL did give him 6 games. I'm not going to get on the NHL for that. I know a lot of people will, but fact of the matter is, it's a it's a bad play. Um, yeah, it's a bad play by Jason Spezza. Suspended 6 games. Although I don't necessarily agree with it, I also don't disagree with it. Um, we'll see. Andrew says he deserves it, and he deserves a suspension. He definitely deserves a suspension. That's why Maurice was pissed. He was steaming, but the Leafs lost Sandin in 3 weeks. Yeah, Leafs lose Rasmus Sandin for 2 to 3 weeks with that knee injury. That was a The thing about that play is like you can argue that that's not intentional, but with Jason Spezza's play, you can't really argue that it's not intentional. Jason Spezza went out there and reacted to that hit. It was clear. Yeah, it's an interesting situation, but I do think that the NHL Department of Player Safety, they're trying to they're really trying to set the tone here with the suspension. I know it's someone who doesn't have a track record in Jason Spezza, and he's a class act, 19 seasons in this league, but you just you can't do that, and the league's trying to crack down on it. Canadian Action Kid, can we suspend the refs? They were awful in Winnipeg. Yeah, they really let that game get out of hand. They did not manage the game well at all, and honestly, that shouldn't be out of the question. Frank Rusty Nails says, I like how Spezza stood up for his teammate. I do like that he stood up for his teammate, but A, is Jason Spezza the guy you want doing that? You'd like to see anyone do it, but is he the guy that you would pick to do it? No. And B, it's just a bad play. Like you like to see him respond and stand up for the teammate, but it's the way that he did it that it was a dirty play from a clean player, and that's why he's being suspended. Hurt Locker says I blame the refs. If I, you know what, would have, if the refs would have given Neil Pionk a penalty on that knee-to-knee hit, would Jason Spezza have done that? Probably not. If anything, someone would have fought Neil Pionk. That's about as far as it would have went, or Pionk would have been out of the game. That's if the game was managed properly, that wouldn't have happened. Timothy Liljegren will see a lot of action for the next 3 weeks, and that's something I'm excited about. I'm excited to see what Timothy Liljegren can do for this team. We're bringing up a lot of players, depth. We're going to see the depth of this team, and if they can prevail victorious in some of these games, we need depth players. We need these young guys to step up. Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Liljegren, they're going to be playing bigger roles over the next few weeks, especially in the absence of Travis Dermott right now. Oh yeah, Rasmus Sandin. What am I saying? He's injured. Timothy Logan's going to be playing a bigger role, though, for sure. No, that was not Neil Pionk. That was the hit on Campbell, or Wall rather. Joseph Wall was starting that game. Um, that hit was Pierre Luc Dubois. What about Perry on last year's playoffs? No 5 games there. All right, Mike, you can't compare the two situations. You can't compare Corey Perry hit on Jason Spezza. If you want to call it a hit, it wasn't a hit. It was an incidental play. That's not something that Corey Perry would have done on purpose. That was a freak accident play at a very high speed. Jason Spezza, that wasn't an accident. Jason Spezza went out of his way to make Jason Spezza wanted to get back at Neil Pionk. It was retaliation, and what Corey Perry did last year was not intentional. There's no intent on that play. Corey Perry didn't even get a penalty on that play. There's no penalty and there's no suspension for Corey Perry. For Jason Spezza, he's got to face a suspension. If Spezza was a repeat offender, I wonder if he would have got 8. If Jason Spezza was a repeat offender, it wouldn't have mattered how. I would have been fine if he got 10 games if he was a repeat offender, honestly, because I like that the NHL is trying to set a tone for player safety because it's a very important thing. Very important thing. Safety's the most important thing. But no, he's not a repeat offender. It should be a mitigating factor that actually helps out Jason Spezza that he's not a repeat offender, but it didn't in this situation. He got 6 games, and I'm not really mad at the NHL for it. Uh, I think Frank Restinel says, "I think if someone does a dirty hit, the team should target that player, not intent to hurt, but hurt him that he knows never to do a dirty hit again." So what I think what he's trying to say, not intent to injure, but just kind of intent to hurt the guy, send a message. And I think that's just something that's common around sports in general, like football, hockey, any contact sport. You do a dirty play, someone's gonna usually come after you. Um, it's just the way that you do it. And if Jason Spezza would have dropped the gloves with Neil Pionk, although Jason Spezza's not someone who usually drops the gloves, he's done it before, but he's not usually that drops the gloves. That's a way that you can send a message, but you can't send a message by retaliating with a dirty hit. Dirty, 2 wrongs doesn't make one right. That's what I'm trying to say here. You 2 wrongs doesn't make one right. You can't just retaliate and stoop to that level because someone else did it. I get the fact that, yeah, you send a message, but it's about the way that you do it, and that's not the way you do it. Eric Ralph, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, he should have gotten 2 minutes for roughing Matthews. Sure. Matthews potentially could have got a penalty on that play as well, but Dubois definitely should have gotten at least 2 for roughing Austin Matthews there. JB says Jets are dirty. Remember Matthews hit by Trouba rib injury. Uh, I remember a lot of things going on with the Winnipeg Jets over the past few years, so it's been a heated matchup anytime these two teams play, and they don't play until March again, so maybe some of it will cool down a bit, but I think there's going to be a lot of memory here. I think there's going to be a lot of pour over when this game happens in March. When these two teams meet up, I think it's like March 28th or something that these two teams meet up. I think there's going to be some pour over in that game, but we'll see. We'll see how much. JB says March 31st. Yeah. March 31st, these two teams meet up and in Toronto. That's going to be a great game. I'm excited for it. And we'll see how the appeal goes for Spezza. Maybe he gets it dropped down, but I think at this point, I'd be surprised, really. I would be surprised if he wins that appeal. JB says, I already circled it. Well, there you go. JB is already hyped up for March 31st game against the Jets. I am too. I really am too. It's a game I'm looking forward to. Hurt Locker says 4 games for Spezza is okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. Today, I was expecting the announcement to come out that it was 4 games, but 6, not happy about it, but I don't fully disagree with it either. I don't fully disagree with it. Um, it's about player safety. That's what matters most. So, trying to send a message that you can't do this type of thing and you can't retaliate even if someone else on your team just got hurt. Would have liked to see Frank Rusty Nails. Would have liked to see the coaches go at it. Haven't seen that in a long time. Maurice wanted to go, but Keith didn't go for it. Yeah, Paul Maurice was fuming on the bench. That was a fun game to watch from the home. But man, those yeah, they'll definitely remember that. They're gonna remember that. Gaming with Ty says, "What do you think about Spezza being suspended for 6 games?" We've been talking about this for a little while now, and what I've been saying basically is that 6 games is more than I was expecting to see tonight. I was kind of feeling like it was going to be 4, but I understand why it's 6 games because it's a retaliation move by Jason Spezza, and it's just like player safety is what matters most. Player safety is what it matters most, and you have to send a league-wide message, even if it's Jason Spezza, someone who has a clean record over 19 seasons in the NHL. You still have to send a message to the league and say you can't retaliate, you can't go out there and intentionally make a dirty play. It was intentional. It was an intentional play by Spezza, and it was a dirty play, unfortunately. John Howard said 4 would be a good enough. Honestly, Spezza 6 game suspension sucks, but it opens up opportunities for other players. And tonight we saw 2 players make their NHL debut. I'm a little bit excited to see how this team responds to this current status of the team with injuries and a suspension to Jason Spezza. So you're missing Spezza, Dermott, Sandin, and Marner. I'm kind of excited and interested to see how this team reacts and responds. Of course, you want to see your players on your team healthy and as healthy as they can be throughout a whole season, but injuries are going to happen. And it's exciting to see what these players and new opportunities can do. We're going to see Timothy Liljegren taking on a bigger role for sure. We saw tonight Christian Rubens, defenseman, making his NHL debut, along with Alex Steves. Uh, you know, not much ice time for either of these guys tonight, but we're going to need players to step up. I didn't think they really made many mistakes out there, none that were really costly. So you like to see it, and congratulations to them for making their NHL debut. I feel as if we'll be seeing them again in the future. Habs lose again. Nothing new in the NHL. Who is Montreal playing tonight? I can't remember. Tampa. They're playing Tampa, yeah. Um, I'll come back to that. Simmons is going to have a crack at Stanley in March. Let's see if he will be showboating with no refs between them. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the Stanley Cup, and I was like, what? Okay. Wayne Simmons can have a crack at Logan Stanley in March. We'll see if he'll be showboating then. Well, yeah, the referees, that was frustrating to see too. I know I've been talking about player safety and stuff, but why the refs get in the middle of that? Like Logan Stanley threw a punch and then didn't let Wayne Simmons get back to him. The referees intervened at the wrong time, in my opinion. There, I know they're trying to control the game, but they didn't control the game the rest of the time. So why start there? Dave Snow says Spezza really meant to hit, but I don't believe he tried to hurt. And maybe that's the case. I don't think Jason Spezza is a malicious person, but you have to treat it as if uh, it's a malicious play. You have to treat it that way. It's a dirty play and it's a reactionary play. That's therefore Spezza ends with the 6 game suspension. Yes, we played Tampa on Thursday night. That'll be a fun matchup. It'll be interesting. It's always fun to see the Toronto Maple Leafs go up against back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They did it earlier in the year. That was the game I was at, and they won 2-1 in overtime. So hopefully they keep the train rolling. I feel like this team could get hot. It could get hot after a down weekend, and really, that down weekend was actually solid weekend. We only got 1 of 4 points, but some solid performances, especially Saturday night in a game that they lost to the Minnesota Wild in overtime. That was uh, quite the effort to come back against a top team in the NHL. So I like to see that. So yeah, uh, Hurt Locker says a win against Tampa on Thursday will be huge. Anytime you can beat the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, that's going to be huge for your momentum. That's going to help you move mountains. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, they could use some more momentum and some more confidence, especially in the absence of so many key players right now. So hopefully this team can keep the train rolling, get another victory Thursday night. I'll be here for a post-game show. I'll see you then. As always, I'm your guy Jake, and thank you for watching tonight's post-game show. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button and hit the notification bell to be notified every time new content's being released on the channel. Uh, as always, I'm your guy Jake. Thank you.